So I was like coming back from a house party,
Yeah.
I was 17. The passenger pulled up the handbrake because she'd seen Fast and the Furious, thought we could do a drift. Anyway, the car flipped, wrapped around a tree, and then I like...
Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks
Good
for
to have
having
you on
me.
it. No, thanks for coming on. We've obviously known each other digitally for a while, so it's been quite cool to actually meet you in person.
Yeah.
But why don't you quickly introduce who you are and where you've come from?
So
over here.
Sweet. Kia ora, I'm Logan, and I'm from Tauranga, and I do a little thing called Kiwi Dad, where I share like dad tips and parenting stuff and just the unique struggles.
Yeah, absolutely. I asked you, I've come out that we're going to start back from where this journey started, and you said, there's a bit of a preamble before it.
Yeah.
So what is that? Where did this journey start from? What is that preamble to get to
Right,
that?
yeah, it goes all the way back to when I was 17,
Okay.
and I'm just about to turn 30. So
Yeah,
it's
okay, here's a little
it's a bit of a
while,
story,
okay?
yeah.
Cool.
But I'll do like a high
all
level.
day, bro. Go for
Sweet. So I was like coming back from a house party,
Yeah.
I was 17. The passenger pulled up the handbrake because she'd seen Fast and the Furious, thought we could do a drift. Anyway, the car flipped, wrapped around a tree, and then I like whacked my head into my mate and then into the window. I don't remember any of this because I was like completely knocked out. Yeah, it was
Shit.
pretty, yeah. So I woke up at hospital, had like
Yeah.
a severe concussion.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, but it was okay, and everyone else was all good,
Yeah,
which was
okay.
great.
That's good.
But then after that, it's only like in retrospect,
Yeah.
you piece it together. But I started to get like real tired. Like,
Okay.
I mean, like I was still at school at that point. I finished school,
Yeah.
it'd be like 3:30, and I would nap till 6, like
Shit. Yeah.
every day. Is
Yeah.
And then my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, Charlie,
Yeah.
she was always like, this is weird, like you should go to the doctors or something. And then and I didn't do it for like 4 years, like not until I was 21, where I was like, oh yeah, this is probably a problem. And then so then I went to the doctors, they got me to do some bloods, and they're like, oh, you need to come back, we need to do more bloods. And I was like, oh god, like is it cancer, what's wrong with me, and then basically I'll try and figure out how to. So like hormones, right? For testosterone, like men have a range of 9 to 30, and it's like 9 is like a 65-year-old, and then 30 is like a healthy 18-year-old peak testosterone. And you start the day with like high test, and then it drops a bit, but the brain detects it and basically sorts it out. And what mine was doing is like it would go down to like a 4, so less than a 65-year-old. And then the next bloods I had, it would be like a 34, so it'd be like more than an 18-year-old, which is like super unusual. And that like for energy level, up and down, mainly down though. But yes, then I had a CT and an MRI, 2 different ones. And then the pituitary gland is like it's like a blueberry size thing in your head. It's meant to face upwards, and mine was like to the side and pressed down, like compacted.
Shit.
And so the pituitary gland does like all your hormones, and basically it was just not
functioning,
not doing the right thing, and sending the signal wrong. So but how this leads into Kiwi Dad is then, 21, they were like, we can fix you with testosterone replacement. Just inject the testosterone, don't have to worry about the brain, but it will make you infertile, which was like, again, I'm about to turn 30 next month. And thinking back now, I'm like, man, that was a lot for a 21-year-old to be like, we can fix you, but you will be infertile, and then, my girlfriend at the time wanted kids. I wanted kids. I was like, no, I'm not gonna do it. And they're like, oh, okay, you can try this diet where you like don't eat many carbs and the keto diet. But 10 years ago, it wasn't like really as well known. And so I tried that for like I think about 3 years. But then it was just getting worse to the point I wasn't even getting the highs anymore. It was just like, I think my highest was like an 11 and it was like consistently 4 or 5, So, and then by 24, I was like studying teaching, but I just have no drive and like bit down buzz, but was proper like, what is the point in living, like it was just not a good time. So, then I ended up going to like a fertility clinic in Hamilton, freezing my swimmers so they would have like an insurance plan of IVF, and then starting the testosterone replacement, which was sorry, I feel like I'm doing a lot of reference.
Bro, this is awesome.
Sweet. And then that was, again, I've definitely been reflecting a lot on it lately. And like that, you almost grieve having a baby the conventional way, right? Like you're like, at 24, you're never going to have a natural baby. You'll have to be an IVF baby. Yeah, so that was a that's crazy. Big one, yeah.
It's a heavy load for a 24-year-old.
Yeah. And even like starting the testosterone, once you start, you never stop. So it's like lifelong injections twice a week for the rest of your life. And that's another reason why I put it off, because I was like, that sounds like a big commitment. Yeah. So I started the testosterone, and then only after a few weeks, way better. It was like if my whole life had been grey or the last few years, and then suddenly colour and drive to do stuff and energy. Proper testosterone so important.
It's 100%, right?
But then after I think it was 3 months, I went and did a sperm check to see, because it's basically like when you inject testosterone, so you're not getting the signal from the brain anymore, because the brain, like with all its efficiencies, it's like, oh, there's testosterone coming from somewhere else. So I will tell the testes they don't need to make testosterone, like testosterone. But then the problem is the testes make sperm as well, and if you tell them not to make testosterone, they're like, cool, we're done. So they just they just stop. But the range of time that takes can be like a year. So you might be okay. But mine 3 months in, no sperm, all gone. Everything had shut up, which kind of fit with how my hormones were already, that it would go that quick. But so that was pretty disappointing. And then and it was a weird conflict for me too of I'm feeling great for the first time. I have energy, but also like this normal way of having a baby is just gone now completely. And my wife took it real hard, because and again, all these like fertility conversations in your relationship so young, normally you get to delay it for a little while. So it was it was pretty heavy. And then I got, like, back then, forums and stuff, like internet forums was still more of a thing. And I got real into like all the testosterone replacement ones on there. And then I kept seeing these guys be like, meet my daughter, meet my son. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, how are they having kids? Like, and then they're all from America. And I'm like, what's happening in America? Like, what are they? And like, so America's healthcare system is way better than New Zealand's. And then they don't want to be sued for making someone infertile. So they found a solution, which is, it's always to do with money, but.
It's always money.
So I found out they're using a drug called Pregnol, which is human chorionic gonadotropin, HCG.
Crazy.
And then New Zealand actually does have that drug, but we give it to infertile women, and because it stimulates egg production, similar to how it tells the testes to do sperm. But then I tried to go to like my urologist that had prescribed me and was like, hey, blah blah blah, and he's like, look at NZ formulary, which is all the drug guidelines. And it's like just for women. There's no thing for men. He was like, no way I can prescribe a woman drug to a man. And then that got me. So at the same time, I'm like studying teaching and learning like what are credible sources and all that stuff. And that led me down like a mad research pathway of like getting all the clinical data about like its use in America and all of that. And then I think I saw maybe 5 or 6 different specialists, which cost quite a bit as well because it's all private. Urologist, endocrinologist, just trying to convince them. And then I got kind of better each time. I still got this like folder filled with research about like, look how it works in men here, and UK uses it in certain situations as well. Then it took me, I think, 2.5 years before I finally convinced one doctor that was like, okay, I see everything, let's try it out and let's go for it. And then I think I was the first man in New Zealand to get Pregnol, which was, and then I did I had to pay for it all out of pocket, have bloods every week to make sure everything was all good. So I managed to get it, and then that's like a subcut, so into your stomach. Injection every 2 days. So again, on top of my existing injections.
On top of.
Shit. So I'm having like, I think 7 injections a week now. And then the HCG, like, so sends a signal to your testes to make sperm, but then once it is finished, it aromatizes, which is like it transforms into estrogen. And like, because you normally use it in women, that's okay. But as a guy, I'm now like flooded with estrogen way more than ever in my life. And it was actually like, I always say it's like the perfect way to get empathy because I literally like bloating, sensitive nipples, sensitive feelings. Like I was just,
that's funny.
I remember like Char would come out and I'd be watching TV and I think there was like a lotto ad on the time that was quite sad.
Yeah.
And I would just be like bawling my eyes out, just like, she's like, what's wrong? I'm like, it's just so sad. Like I just, I couldn't, but I also couldn't regulate as like, I would just feel real grumpy, like proper like, and I couldn't like, it got me quite into like meditation and breathing to try and regulate. Which was, but so a lot of the research I found on that drug was that it would take 12 to 18 months and it might not work. Like it still might not. So in my head, I was like, okay, we've got like a year and a half of doing this. And about 4 months in, I was like, I don't know if I can handle this PMS stuff all the time. Yeah. But then I went and did a sperm check and there was like, I think there was like 2 million sperm, which is tiny. You need like 50 million to, but there was some sperm, which was like, it worked. And then it was like a proof of concept to my doctor of like, oh, it actually, it worked, you know? So then I kept taking the injections and then at like 5 months in, Char shows me a positive pregnancy test. We're like, whoa, but we didn't believe it. We were like, nah, it's like a false, there's no way that it could have.
False positive.
And then I think she did like 20 pregnancy tests and bloods and stuff. And we've talked about it a lot since that pretty much the whole pregnancy, we were like, this won't last, you know, like I stayed on the drugs for like another 4 or 5 months because we're like, no way will this, and I think didn't quite process all of that stuff. So
that's funny.
That was a lot.
Crazy.
But so Char pregnant, awesome. And then, so she gave birth, there was like some complications, had to stay in the hospital and stuff for a few nights. It was okay in the end, but it was just a bit of a tricky birth. But then, slammed into, and now here we go, back to the Kiwi Dad thing, slammed into becoming like a dad, but I don't think I'd mentally prepared enough for it.
You'd been in
all
denial.
This stuff, man, 100%. And then that was when I first was like, I remember, you know, How to Dad, the Kiwi guy. I was like, oh, perfect. He'll have like some advice. And then I jumped on and then realized it's just all skits,
just
you know? And they're good skits.
It's awesome, but it's humor.
And I was like, oh, there's got to be, and like, at least then, I think there's a few more now, but back then, like, just no dads talking about anything, right? It's, and so that, I'll just grab a drink. That was that was my first, like, there is a thing
gap.
for it. Sorry, that was a huge ramble, though.
No, that's good.
I
mean, obviously knew none of it, so that's great.
Sweet, man. So then from there, I still didn't start Kiwi Dad at that point. But I struggled actually, like, in hindsight now, I think I got quite depressed after becoming a dad. Like, I didn't know how to kind of process it all. I think I'm quite a emotional guy, quite in touch with my feelings and stuff. And then I was expecting when I like held my daughter to feel all this love and stuff, and I just didn't really feel anything. I was quite so that was like
interesting,
quite hard for me. And then from there I kind of so leading up to just before my daughter was born, I was still a school teacher, and I really wanted to get into this work from home job that one of my mates was doing. And so I like took on that job while still being a teacher, and teaching's like, I was a third year at the time, so it's about 50 hours a week. It's pretty heavy. And then I was doing about 20 to 30 for this other job at night. And it was it was a bit stupid, but I was like, if I just go hard enough and like bring so much value, they'll have to hire me. And then and it worked. I got a job there, and I was like making money for baby stuff as well. You know, there was a lot, but I think I probably entered like fatherhood burnt out as well, which didn't help. And then I was a teacher for 1 month with Lila born, and then I stopped and went full work from home, which was just like another, like adjusting to that and being a dad is, a whole lot of stuff.
Been a ride.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And then we had some family stuff too of like both my partner's mum and my mum's long story there, but anyway, we didn't have much family support,
and
we thought we would, and then it ended up kind of just being us. And then working from home, it's hard to set boundaries because you want to just help out, right? You do want to jump in. So that was a whole thing, as well as just my own headspace. And then my wife was like, I'm not going back to work after maternity leave ends, and I was like, I thought you were going back like 2 days a week. And she's like, no, I was never going back. And that was and I was like, oh my gosh, like can we even afford to do this? That's when I started listening to Keep the Change and cool. Luke and all that. Nice. And then set up a budget for like the first time in my life of, I think I'd tried before, but hadn't really, and then like got hyper obsessive about how I could save money, because when I did the budget, we couldn't afford it. There was she would have to go back to work. I was like, okay, I'll just find everything I can cut, and like I got insurance quotes for all our stuff from everywhere, like every insurance provider, and like it takes ages. I don't know what I was doing, but and then like all the power companies, all the internet companies, I just like got everything, found like some benefits that like in tax work credit. Anyway, all these things that you can get as a like one income family. Got all that, and then ended up, we cut our expenses by about 6,000, and then we got about like, I think it was like 4,000 or 5,000 in benefits. We had 11,000 after I'd done this huge process, and I was like, cool. We can do it. We can make it. It'll be tight, but we can actually, we can do it. And then, which was real cool. And then my neighbor 2 doors down, he was in a similar position. His kid was like a year old, and at 1 year his partner was going to go back to work, and she told him it's not happening as well. He was the exact same of like, I don't know how we're going to do it. And I was like, oh bro, I've been doing all this stuff. And he's like, oh, can you like write it down? And I was like, oh yeah, sweet. So I wrote it all up and sent it to him, and he was like, bro, I saved $4,000. Amazing. I was like, cool. And then I was like, oh, I should like post this on Reddit, see if it helps any other like people out there. So then this is again still before Kiwi Dad. So I posted that up on Reddit, and then like within a week or two, it got like 100,000 downloads. But it blew up, my first ever viral thing. And then like Bad Plenty Times was like, hey, can we share your tips? I was like, yeah, for sure. And then the Herald from there, and then TVNZ Breakfast was like, hey, this is like cost of living was just becoming an issue. There, I think it's sort of early 2022, maybe 2021. I'm trying to think. But anyway, and I was like, yeah, sweet, cool, that'd be awesome to go on. And then before you go on like breakfast, the day before, they like tell you all the questions, and they're pretty much making sure, because it's live, that they're not going to you're not going to fuck it up. And they're like, so what's your socials to plug? And I was like, oh, I don't have any. And then my wife, like I was on speaker at the time, and she was like, it's Kiwi Dad. And so and then we later found out Kiwi Dad was taken, and that's why I'm like _ Kiwi Dad. So they plugged the Kiwi Dad thing when I went on TVNZ, and then overnight I went from like nothing to 800 straight away, which was cool. Awesome. And then I was like, oh man, I don't know like what to do with this. And my very first videos were like budgeting advice and stuff. And by the time I like was doing that, the whole drive for budgeting had gone, like, because I'd met the goal, right, of trying to, so I was like not as into it. If you go all the way back, it's like one of my very, and then there's a podcast called Kiwi Birth Tales. You should get her on. She's pretty cool. I'd listened to a few of them. She interviews a couple dads, like Clint from, I think it's The Edge. And like it was one of the, when I was trying to find dad Instagrams or whatever, that was one of the few resources I found. And it was super good. And then she was like, hey, do you want to come on and like share cost of living tips and stuff? And I was like, yeah, sure. And then the Kiwi Birth Tales thing is they ask you like how the birth went and stuff. And then the story I just told you, I told her for the first time. She had no idea either. She was like, what? But then a bunch of people messaged me after like, I'd never heard about this, and like a bunch of, because I think in the podcast I'd said something about like, I'm actually finding it quite hard, like, and I don't feel like I've bonded with Delilah straight away and blah, blah, blah. And then, a couple of dads messaged and a couple of mums. And I was like, oh, like, I should do this. I should talk about like what I'm going through, And then, and my first videos, like, I watch them now, I'm like, oh man, they're so bad. But yeah, and that's anyway. That's our full story now of how I got
Bro,
to
that's awesome.
Kiwi Dad.
Bro, that's epic. What a great story.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely didn't know that story, which is cool. It's always cool to get surprised on these sorts of things when you meet people. That piece around dads or parents like not bonding, it's a strange one, because it's like, I've heard it a lot. Like the very first podcast I ever did was this one called Origin Stories that I started when I first started to make content back in like 2019, I think it was. Yeah, 2019. And I talked to this woman who had the same thing. Like she just like couldn't bond with her kids.
Oh, right.
And she got to a point where she like had like these weird feelings of like I need to get rid of them.
Oh, intrusive thoughts and stuff.
And she didn't obviously want to. But she'd say them out loud then.
Right.
And her partner at the time like took them away from her. It was just like you need to
so
go get help.
Support her.
He did support her, but he was like, we need you to get help. Like, this is, you don't want this, blah, blah, blah. It was pretty crazy. Like, and like for someone who's like, doesn't have kids and whatever, and not in that world, like it's a crazy thing to hear, but I thought like, it opened up my eyes to be like more people need to know this, because like you become a parent and all media tells you is that you should go love your children. Yeah. Or you should have a real strong bond, but it's not the truth for a lot of people.
Yeah, man. It's like, because I quite like statistics and stuff. And so suicide is the leading cause of women in the first 12 months postpartum. It's like more than any other thing. Suicide's the main thing that kills a woman after they've had a baby.
Fuck, that's
which
crazy.
Is like, at least in Western countries. It's like that's
because they don't feel like they've got bond and
or postpartum depression effects. And it makes sense. You literally grew a human and got it out of your body. Of course, your hormones are wrecked, and if you're breastfeeding, they're literally taking all your nutrients. But it's crazy. It's not really talked about. It's like a ignored thing, and and I didn't have postpartum depression in that sense, but I definitely had like a sort of depression of the transition into that. Which again, I don't think people really like. For me, I'd never been like the primary breadwinner. We'd always just put everything together and figured it out. And suddenly you have this responsibility of like, if I fuck up, we're fucked. Like it's all on me. And as well as like you're trying to be a good dad and look after your partner and. It's just and no one talks about it. It's just sort of it is.
Deal with it, right? Harden up. That's all the sort of language. It's like fucking
that
be
old
a
school.
Man. Which is pretty crazy, but I do see it changing. Like I do see more and more people having this conversation. It's just not mainstream enough that every guy knows. Yeah, and that's also like content that like most guys won't watch. Yeah,
or even my audience is mainly female. I think it's like 68% female, so it's still
And the guys watching it are like guys probably going through the same shit, as opposed to guys before they go through it.
Yeah, because why would you even? I wouldn't have. I'm sure. Yeah.
I mean, even like your content. The only reason I've watched your content is because we know you've like commented on my shit, and I go back and see your stuff.
Right. Yeah.
And then you message me saying like, it's some pop off and stuff. So I watch them all and things like that. But like it's content that like for a lot of it like has no value to me right now in my life.
Yeah, totally.
And I mean that's not to say it's not valuable, right? Everyone has an audience.
Totally, man.
But that's the hard thing. It's like, how do you bring it to a mainstream piece where everyone will watch it? Like, it doesn't matter. It's an interesting concept to think about for your content. Like, how do you get your content to transcend like everyone? That like everyone will watch it because it's interesting.
Because I've had a couple like in the early days, which I should probably do again now that I'm a bit better with polishing stuff. But one of my first ones that kicked off was like the percentage check-in, where you literally when you talk to your partner when you get home, you just say a number and that's it. You don't have to give any detail, but like I'm a 7, I'm a 4, and Brene Brown's talked about it more recently, and so it's gone up again. But that one, like, because that's applicable to all relationships, right? It's not just a parenting thing. It's like so that kind of stuff I think applies to more people.
Exactly. Like, how do you get we call it in our world, in our business, like the fan acquisition versus the fan service content. So like fan acquisition is how do you get people to watch this piece of content to get new audiences, so new people come in, acquire new fans. Yeah. And then the fan service content's like the real stuff. Like it's the thing that moves the needle in terms of like whatever your outcome is as a goal for that brand. The fan service content is what does that. So like if you take the attention seeker stuff our fan acquisition content is like Joni doing presentations to me, or
Right,
vice
the ones
versa.
that always pop off and go viral.
Yeah, so they go viral, get all these new fans, but the fan service stuff is all about team. Most of it's about team, and like that's why we do like the lunchtime games, and Joni will interview people and stuff like that. And the reason because that we want that is like what moves the needle for us is that people and brands see that one, we've got heaps of followers and heaps of views, but actually, oh shit, there's this whole team behind these guys. Oh, this must be a business. It's a real workplace. They look big enough and creative enough to handle my brand.
Yeah, cool.
Right, so that's why we do that. That's the strategy behind it.
Yeah.
But only a small, like you'll see it, like 40,000. I mean, for us it's small. 40,000 people will watch those videos, but then like 4 million will watch the acquisition ones. But the acquisition ones don't move the needle much.
Interesting, right?
Like from a business perspective,
right?
or
they
goals
grow
of the account.
your sort of ego numbers of followers, but not necessarily actually.
They bring in new fans, which is good because you need that. But then you need the service content to like sell the narrative that you're trying to sell. So like take you for an instance, right? You create fan acquisition content that's like the percentage thing, right? And you do that blows up. Heaps of people come in and watch it. And then a percentage of them will also subscribe and follow along and do all the things. And then so they're going to start getting served all your fan service content. And then slowly but surely you build up more and more
I get
understanding.
That, like when I share a story, I'll lose maybe 10 followers, but I know they're not really the base, you know? Yeah.
Oh, it's interesting. And on Instagram.
Yeah, on Instagram. Yeah, it depends on what it is. Like I seem to I'll gain like maybe, I don't know, 20 odd a day. And then if I like share something different, especially, then I'll lose maybe 10. It's
interesting.
It's funny because I have like in my head, I think I got off Gary V. I'm not sure, maybe Alex Hormozy. But like hero content, and then the content I actually want to make. And like there's one on there, screen time. If you go into Reels, it'll be easier to find, I think. But like I knew that one would go viral. I would have put bet money. It's probably a little bit further down. It's got like Miss Rachel on it. Oh, you probably don't know who Miss Rachel is. Little War, once again. That one, the benefits of screen time, and I knew that one would work because I'd seen 2 different posts about screen time. Yeah. This one here, where people are like ripping into this chick because her kid has a American accent. She's British. Kid's got an American accent because Miss Rachel, this kid's YouTuber, is American. And everyone's like just roasting her, like proper, you're a terrible parent and blah, blah, blah. So here's some of the comments. And then I'd seen another video from a PhD in screen time, and she was listing all these benefits. And the presentation was terrible. Like it was in her car, like shoddy audio, and she kept saying, but she linked the research, and I was like, like there's something, and it did all right. Like I think it got like 100,000 views, her one. From like a small following. I was like, like I've never heard anyone talk about the benefits. So I saw her video first about the benefits, and I saved it because I'm always, like trying to. And then when I saw that video when everyone's hating, I was like, perfect. I'll mix these two together. The research that says there's actually benefits to screen time and this video, I'll mash it up and then chuck it out there. And some of the comments on my post are like, brutal, like your poor daughter, like she should have been aborted and awful stuff. Some people but like then you get that one negative comment and then you get 10 people roasting that person, which is all engagement, which I know sounds a bit nefarious, but you're like,
but it's true,
it works. But it's like that one wasn't too bad because I was actually interested in that one. But there are some that I make, like there's a few where I get like a celebrities parenting advice, like that Matthew McConaughey one, which that's just straight taking his stuff. Sometimes I use it as an audio in the background and then have like clips of me and Lila doing stuff. But those ones I know they will do well. And then there's other ones that I want to make myself. And so I make those, and I'm trying to balance it.
That's it. That's the same concept, right? It's like, what are the ones that will get things to go viral? What we try to do, because I remember you did ones like I think like the Matthew McConaughey one, right? Like it's like a video of him.
If you go at the very top, and there's I was experimenting with that green screen. Oh, they're not pinned.
Oh, you pin ones, eh?
Yeah, sorry.
Anyway, it's annoying how it doesn't even do that on Instagram as well. It doesn't pin on the desktop.
Maybe that one, the 2.6 million. So I found this clip of Andy Samberg doing an interview, And then the actual interview is actually kind of boring. It's like 4 minutes. But right at the end, this is pretty funny.
Yeah.
And then I just added like, so what I did was I put a rainbow and some sound effects. And then when he's being like a good parent and the bad parent, and then I just flipped it and made it red. And the clip is pretty funny when you add a little bit extra to it. You know, it's the hardest thing I find is like I could make clips like that a lot, but they take a while to find and to edit. And I'm just doing it pretty much before bed or first thing in the morning. That's my window. So it's like, I can make stuff I know will pop off, but I don't have enough resource and time to do it.
It's always the way.
If you go into that first 12 weeks one, the 1.6 million, that was the one I was like real proud of because it was all me, all stuff I wanted to talk about. And it blew up, and I've tried to like replicate that a bit by using, because here again, this is the first time I used like scientific evidence to support what I was saying, and it did really well. And I was like, oh, cool, okay, so there's a pattern there, but then it's still finding the time and the drive to come up with another video about it, and still
Nah, it's cool though. I have watched this one too, and I like this style. This is There's this sort of style of stuff. The thing that catches you on this is that the trimester and the fact that you got fourth at it. I remember when I first watched it, it was like, wait, that doesn't make sense in my head.
Yeah.
You know, so that catches you already
as a hook. You
know, and so what was the demographic on that video? Do you know? Was it women or men?
I don't think I could actually see for that video.
Because that's quite interesting. Like, I wonder what it was, but. Yeah, well, that's exactly it, right? That's the way we think of it too, is like you have those ones and then you have the fan service ones. They still need to all be sort of good quality. It's just that other ones won't pop off because of the topic or whatever.
Yeah.
But like what it does like for you is like that's like a potential, without trying to tell you how to run your channel, but like talking about the stuff, the brand, like if you like pick a couple things that are core for you, like, you know, men who struggle after the baby's born, you know, to connect with them, whatever, and you just keep on harping on about it, just from all different angles, different pop culture stuff, because pop culture is like obviously a big part of what you do, which is cool because you're able to bring that in, and like then you start to be able to have that narrative be something people know you for, you know, so you just like repeat it constantly. And I mean, I know, like, well, you know, the bunch that I've trawled through and watched, like, you do have a lot of like repetitive themes, but not repetitive topics, eh? It's like the themes there. Because
it's not like I sell a product or anything yet. It's been purely like almost a therapy for me. That's what it started as, and now it's kind of grown more out. And then I've got more into like, how can I grow? Like that's become a new passion. That's come out. But I mean, it's literally what I was dealing with that day or that week. Where I'm like, I'm going to make a video, and then that's what it's been. So I'm just starting to have more strategy behind it.
How much are you posting?
Every 2 days I try and post a reel.
Yeah, cool. And like from a workflow perspective, how much time is it taking you to do these?
So I've got pretty good now where I set like pretty much. So I batch record. If it's me talking, I probably recorded that like 2 months ago. So I batch record like 20 minutes of footage, and then I'll just cut them up as little ones. And then there's ones like when it's a podcast sort of audio of parenting, I can make that in like half an hour. Like I've already like, I'm just always listening to podcasts. Whenever I hear something good, screenshot, cut it up, and then I've just got audio. So, but that took the first year. Videos took me ages. Now I can do like, I normally start to finish a video will be like 2 hours if it's like that fourth trimester one where like I've got graphics. Otherwise, I can do like the podcast one in about 45 minutes.
Do you do it on the phone, computer?
I used to do it on phone, but now I'm much quicker on computer.
Yeah, cool.
So,
okay, nice. Joni had this like in our Stony version of this podcast that we've been doing. We've only done 3 episodes so far. Where me and Joni just like we watch TikToks and we break them down. And,
cool.
And like talk
I haven't
about
seen
like,
this. Right.
Yeah, it's like it comes out on Sundays now. There's only 2 episodes so far.
Right.
Come out. We haven't had as much of the shorts come out. Oh, it's on. We advertise it on the Attention Seeker channel, not on mine.
Oh, right, gotcha.
Just to steal that audience over to the podcast.
Yeah, nice.
But one of the things she said, which I like, we talk about this all the time, but she like articulated it quite well for us, was like it's almost like the oneer. Like, what is a concept that has only one variable in it? And it was quite interesting.
Elaborate?
Yeah, so it was quite interesting because like she does it on her channel at the moment. She's doing the coffee teaspoon thing. I don't know if you ever watch her TikToks on her personal channel. But
I just started following her maybe like a month or two ago. Yeah.
You might have seen like the one she drops a teaspoon into her coffee.
Can't remember.
So she does it every once in a while where she'll go order a cappuccino or something from a cafe. She drops a teaspoon from a stupid height into the the coffee, sorry.
Yeah.
And if it sinks, then she walks out. And it's the same framing, the same thing every single time. It's always going to sink because she drops it from so high that it doesn't mean anything.
Right. Okay.
It's just a dumb thing, right?
It's just a thing that works.
And she gets off, and they go off all the time. And now, like she wants to start making her own teaspoons. Like it's gone off. It's become this whole thing, right?
Yeah.
But the point of it is that like when she did it, and what we're trying to do more with all our content is like, what's a video concept we can make that only has one variable that's so easy to change, but then you can just do it on repeat forever. And so once one of those videos land and they go well for you, you just keep doing it.
Yeah,
and you just never stop. And so we've always like thought this way, like how do you easily make content that's easily repetitive and easy to reproduce.
Yeah.
But I just like the way that she articulated in that time for us, where it's like not the way I'd thought about it before, which is this one variable thing. And so anyway, my point of the story is like we started to look at like all the content across our platforms, both hers, mine, and the Attention Seeker. And so for the Attention Seekers one, we doubled down on this the questions. So I put out the few things, asked people for questions, a whole bunch of them, and then so that's the variable. The variable's the question.
Right, because it's
a different question. It's the same video every fucking time, except there's a new question, so that adds to the variable.
Yeah.
So they're easily repeated. And for now, the concept is just to get in the habit of making them and getting them out there and keep asking for questions. So right now we're trying to build up in my personal account, rather than trying to make the talking head videos like necessarily really good, is trying to work out a system and a workflow to make them real easy. So yesterday in the morning, I got in about 7:45 or something, and by 8:30 not even that, it was like 25 minutes I think I counted as I'd done 12 videos.
Wow.
And they were all in drafts ready to, like, so now I just have to open up draft, boom, hit paste, and there you go.
Yeah.
Now they're not the best, like they could be edited, whatever.
Everything always could though as well, right?
And so it's more about like, okay, what's the workflow? And so now our first goal is establish a workflow so we can do this so it's easy, so you can produce more. And then the second thing is like get established as a guy who answers questions about business for people. Because like do you watch Hank Green at all?
Don't think so.
Hank Green's like, he's part of the Vlog Brothers, massive. Like on TikTok, I think he's like 8 million. He's a big YouTuber.
Oh, yeah, he looks familiar.
Yeah, this guy, like he's massive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
he's Tom Green's brother, right? Yeah. They've been big for
John Green.
John Green. Yeah. The writer, right?
Yeah. So he's massive, like 8 million. He's known as the guy who answers science questions. So he like that. Like
he's got no hair now.
Oh, he got cancer.
Oh,
he's only just gone into remission. But see, like, what happens when we run out of helium or MRIs? Is that something we should be worrying about?
He
explains about it, so people ask questions, and he gets tagged in stuff where people film something like, how the fuck does this happen?
Yeah,
and they'll be like, oh, Hank Green, can you answer it for us?
Nice. And his content just feeds itself. Yeah.
And so he's got this whole thing where he becomes so my concept is to do something similar.
Yeah, that's
become
cool.
the guy people ask questions for. To about business and things. Make them look fairly similar all the time, like he does. He does like.
Does he like add anything in? What does he? Is it just him talking?
Right, click on this one.
Does he have captions?
So someone's tagged him in this.
Yeah.
And then so he'll get the brief of it out.
Yeah.
And then this is it. And then he just talks.
And that's it. Wow, and it works. Yeah.
It works because like he's real smart.
Yeah.
And he can actually answer the question.
Complicated things.
He's a very good storyteller.
Got a bit of a zoom there, but yeah.
Yeah, and that's like literally in camera zoom. Like he's like,
he's actually just pinching right.
Like he's like just sliding right.
It's funny because you can spend so much time polishing something and then it might not pop off, and then you can do something like this and it does. Like,
and the thing, I mean, he does have like he's got SciShow and Crash Course and all these YouTubes, so he's famous already.
Yeah.
So you can't look at his fame and go, oh, that's
but it's a way to do it.
It's a way to do it. It's about process and a system for him.
Yeah.
But also the other thing that we noticed last Stoney episode that we did with Joni is the YouTubers are coming to TikTok. They're coming and they're coming in hot.
Yeah.
And they're way better than TikTokers.
Yeah.
And so these TikToks that people used to make, they used to pop off on TikTok.
Because I've seen a lot of that lately, right? Yeah. All these people are like they're getting 200, 300 views, and now, the quality of TikTok is polished again rather than talking to the camera,
Because
right?
YouTube's back. Yeah. YouTube's there. And YouTube are fucking good. They're good storytellers. They understand how to hook people in. They understand analytics.
Yeah.
They've been doing it for years. He's been literally doing this for like 15 years.
He was like the OG YouTuber,
yeah,
right? Like,
they were the first vlog guys, like him and his brother. They've been doing that series for like 14 years or something, 15 years.
Yes, they've got a huge lead.
So anyway, my point to you is
for
that
like,
what is the what's the long-term concept of where you want the brand to be, and then what is like list out like a bunch of one single variables that you can change in videos.
What would, for like say that fourth trimester one that did well, how could I turn that into like a one single variable? Like, do you have any?
Yeah, like that's pretty hard. Like if we think about when you talk about like okay, so the fourth trimester one, the hard thing about turning that into one variable is that was just a solid video.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's a different concept. If you can just make solid videos all the time, then just do that.
But it's so hard,
It's hard, and it's hard when you're like a small creator and you're trying to find your lane. If you can just do more of those, then just make more of those.
But it is that I can not do them consistently. Maybe like once a fortnight I can do a full-on polished one,
And there's nothing wrong with if that's the cadence you currently got, then set it as that. Like go, okay, every fortnight I do a fourth trimester level video. And now one of the hard things is that if those you can't be consistent, like as in it's only every fifth video, then that means it's every 2.5 months you get one video go off. Which then like stifles your growth, it makes it really slow. So if you can do it, just do that. What's the car guy's name? Oh, Ketis. Ketis. Ketis is like, I mean, you look at it, how many videos he's got. He's got fuck all on his account, right? But he's at 330,000 followers. Oh, wow. And like, scroll down to the bottom. So that's...
instantly he's got a profile, right? Like you'd be able to describe him to someone else in a couple of words.
So what is that? 1, go up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 27 videos.
Wow.
27 videos, 330,000, right? Yeah. And like, look at them all. They're all gone off.
You can see he would have got his followers literally by these first 10 as well.
Yeah.
Far out.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Because that's definitely what I've like, after the first year, I think I was at 2,000 followers.
Yeah.
And then had kind of got past that like, just making content for myself stage. And then I was like, I should really like work smarter to make it reach more people, you know? It's and that's what I've been, because I like started tinkering with some that are like, it's like a quote about parenting that I've seen pop off on another account, and they just had it as a picture, and I've just said it, and then I've got it over a clip of me and Lila playing, and they're like doing all right. They're like 10K or something like that. They're doing and they're easy. Like I filmed or just recorded.
That's a single variable.
I record like 12 minutes of quotes. Cut it. Put it on. I can do that in like 15 minutes.
That's
you know?
it.
It's,
those are the single variable things, right?
Yeah.
And that's no different to my question one, right? And like for him, his single variable was the car.
Yeah, all right.
He got a different car and he talked about it.
Right.
And like actually just scroll to this first row, Connor. He's tried this new thing these ones where he's brought in other characters and stuff. But it's no longer about the car now. It's about something else, and it didn't quite pop off. And he stopped. He stopped shortly after. This one did all right, where he did this game like very Mr. Beastie sort of thing, which was quite funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, his one variable was like, "What's the car?" And then these recent ones haven't gone as well. They're still great videos. They're not bad. 100,000 whatever. But compared to where he was sitting, he was like these ones. Doing a different car. He just absolutely smashed it.
Yeah.
That's that one variable thing that we sort of talk about. And like. It's hard to do, but like, it's hard to come up with the ideas. But once you do come up with the ideas, you can try heaps of stuff until one cracks. I don't think many people can do what Ketis did. Like, I reckon most people can't do this. Right. Most people can't go and just make like 10 bangers in a row. And grow. Like totally. It's real hard. Like, and there are some people who are that good and talented, but like, if you could, you would have already done it, right? So it's like, can you make 10 fourth trimester videos in a row? Probably not. Like it's hard. It's fucking hard. Like we can't even do it. And like we do this for a living. Like we know we can make viral videos, but we can't make them every time. And that's why we talk about this acquisition and service thing. Because it's like, well,
because that's interesting too. Like a couple of times I've been like, this one's gonna pop off.
Yeah.
It doesn't, and then another one that I'm like, oh, maybe it does, and I'm like, oh, okay, like interesting. It I still don't have a full gauge on it. Yeah,
like we kind of know when the idea will go, and I think you like if the video doesn't go off, it means we just cut it wrong. Like we did one last week where she did part 2 to the tattoo one, and it didn't go because I just don't think she cut it right. Like the story wasn't really there. People didn't catch on to it straight away. That was part of the tattoo thing. She didn't really kind of flow the story very well. So like it just lost real fast. And then it kind of dragged on a little bit about this Gary Vee thing, which wasn't quite as funny as she probably thought initially because it was so left field from everything else. Like there's no storyboard into it.
Yeah.
The concept was funny.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't executed to the level that we needed it to be done. And so you kind of like, actually, I was talking to Lewis Davis the other day, right? You must watch his stuff. Lewis Davis,
I have to have a look.
the Māori fellow who did with his daughter Kiwi.
Oh yeah. Super good.
So
dude. Yeah. This guy. Yeah, you had him on.
Yeah, I was talking to him the other day, and he was saying that, he knows too. He's like, no, this idea is good. Why did it not go? So he'll just recut it and post it again.
Try it again. Yeah.
Just go again. He doesn't care. He just does it again because he's like, no, the idea is fucking good. It should go off.
And TikTok's a bit different. I've found anyway. It might be different for you guys, but like compared to my Instagram, like an Instagram video might even pop off like 4 weeks later for me sometimes. Like that 4th trimester one was like almost 2 months later.
Yeah.
It got shared by someone, and then it kickstarted all of it. We're like TikTok, I feel like I put it up, and then if it doesn't pop, maybe there's like a second one 24 hours later. Otherwise it doesn't work. Like it just didn't work for me.
I think so too. And it's all about, I think TikTok prioritizes relevancy as well. Like, and so we see that the same. Like Instagram's kind of like YouTube. Like you can have YouTube videos go off from 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's wild.
They just found an audience all of a sudden. Whereas TikTok tries to find you an audience. It truly tries to find you.
Yeah, because it's like each post it's like it has a chance, right? Compared to Instagram that I think leverages your existing following, but you have a little bit of a chance. But TikTok, it seems like you've got so much more.
Exactly. And same with YouTube, right? Like YouTube, so that Josh Ryan kid that was on Luke's one, he doesn't work for us. So he's helping us with this podcast actually.
Oh, cool.
And helping us with the analytics behind it and how we can do things better and things. And he does all our thumbnails. But he says the same things. He's like, the first 1,000 view stands are the hardest. Like if you can get 1,000 views over to it from another platform and they're good views, you'll go off. Like your video will pop. Yeah,
because then the algorithm's like, this content works.
But the worst thing you can do, he said also, is like bring 1,000 people over who click on it and then click away. Yeah,
because now it thinks this is trash and everything you post is trash, right? Yeah.
So he says like you need to get people to watch these things, and he looked at like even recently looked at our analytics, and he's like, most of your views are dropping off after 30 seconds, and if they stay longer than that, they stay for longer than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And so he's like, you just need to get them past that point. So he gave us some feedback that we've got to implement, which is take an interesting part of the story, which we do anyway because we made clips out of these things, and just put it at the start.
Yeah, like Diary of a CEO.
Exactly.
Right?
He's just started off with that,
yeah,
and then go into the full podcast.
Yeah,
and like he said, he's like, you should get rid of the intro. He's like, that 2 seconds too valuable. He's like, you're losing everyone in your 30 seconds. So like, what we probably need to do is, as we change the workflow, which for us, you can't just do it like that. Like we've got to change it.
As you get bigger, right, it takes more
it takes more
to move
things.
it. Yeah.
There's so many other priorities.
Yeah.
But because the guy's already cut out these good segments, we just need the one we all think's the best one.
Yeah, you've already done that
at the start.
And like Diary of a CEO, I don't know if you listen to it much, but he always cuts right before they're like, and this thing changed my, and then like he cuts each part. So you're like, what? And that's hooked me a couple of times. I'm like, who is this person I play? I'm like, what was that thing? So yeah, I mean, it's always
nothing.
Looking for that, when so often he did one with I think it was Russell Brand, and he was like, I almost died because of, and then it wasn't until the very end, and he was just joking, like I almost died because I was nervous or something, I was like, was that it? Like that was the thing I was waiting for, but he got me the whole way because of it. So
we almost need to get people to just say
outrageous stuff.
Like just say, so we did this thing.
Because I've been trying to learn about YouTube at the same time, and that's something that, especially as like Kiwis with humbleness, I think, like clickbait is what sells on YouTube, right? It is the language of YouTube. And it's so like, it doesn't feel right where you're like, this parenting tip will change your life. Or so, you know, like it feels so, but it's what works. It's hard, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You just got to play into it, right? Like, and there's other ways to do it. Like, you don't have to do that. It's just if you want it to happen fast. I think like if you want to grow in like a less clickbaity way, you have to do a couple things, which is, you have to be multifaceted with your approach to stuff. Like you have to have a good in-person thing. You have to have a good, you have to have all the different platforms going and different things. You have to probably write a book. You have to understand it takes 10 years, you know, whereas a lot of us are like, no, I want this to happen this year. You know?
Yeah.
And it's like, nah, if you're going to do that, it takes 10 years.
Yeah.
Like that's just how long it takes.
That's actually good to hear, because I think even now, like at this point where I can make videos a lot better than I did at the beginning.
Yeah.
If I had have blown up in the early days, I wouldn't have had the workflow, right? Like, because now I can actually keep up, where before I wouldn't have been able to. Like, I could only make so much, and I'm sure 2 years from now, I'll be much better again. Like, it just, even talking to the camera and stuff, right? That takes a little while to get comfortable with. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Now, workflow is everything. System, like creating a content system is the thing. So, for me, it's the same thing. This podcast was invented so that there's a purpose behind a reason behind the podcast, but actually it's a content system to make content for my TikTok, which is good. So that means there's always that coming out. And the reason I started the vlog stuff is that, I know how my brain works. I know that if I publicly told the world I was going to make these TikToks for a year,
you got to do it.
I would just do it. There's no way I'm stopping. I've been in bed about to fall asleep and it's 11 p.m. and I'm like, fuck. Fuck, I haven't done a vlog. And I'll just get up. Claire gets a
is
fright.
Is it quite a commitment for you? Because sometimes I'm watching it and I think there's a couple clips you've maybe cut together. It's not just one clip.
Yeah.
And you've got a voiceover. Often there's captions. I'm like, that's still a bit of time, right?
Mate,
Bro.
Don't give him that much credit.
Right, okay.
Bro,
He goes like this.
It's real quick.
And then works for a couple hours.
100%, bro.
But what about the voiceover? You're going to have to
one
clear
take.
that up. It's all on your phone.
Bro.
Interesting.
The one, bro.
Yeah.
It's a system, right? It's a system of going, I've talked about it as well on, fuck these new chords. I'm fucking running over them on my wheel. Nah, it's all right. I've talked about it before where, for me, I'm playing a long game. I'm not trying. I don't need my personal one to blow up real fast. The attention seeker one's doing that for us, and it's working perfectly. Do I want lots of followers on my one? Yeah, of course. It's better for business, right? But I want to try and do it a way that it builds slow but real solid audience of people who actually want to get in behind what I do for what we do.
And that is so much more value, right?
Exactly.
An actual audience.
Way more valuable.
Yeah.
If that audience was 1 million, by the time it gets to 1 million, it'd be 800,000 of those people will be solid people, right? And so what you can do with that audience is huge.
Compared to 1 million of the viral video that's sort of just, it's almost like junk followers, right? They're there, but they're not attached to you.
Exactly. Our percentage of people on the attention seeker that are actual potential clients isn't even 1%.
Right, yeah.
Whereas on my personal TikTok, it's probably closer to 10.
Far
right?
out. Okay,
in terms of not necessarily big
No,
clientele,
but
but personal brand clients.
It's
probably closer to 10%.
Yeah.
And because they keep coming back and I see what they do and I know them all.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know them all, but I see heaps of them and what they do. And so that's how we kind of want to build it. But you have to build a system first. And so the vlog system is the barrier of least resistance, right? How easy can I put these things out?
Yeah.
I'll get through the whole day and I get busy and I forget to film. And then so that's when you get all the real shitty ones that I do.
Right.
Even worse than the normal ones. But honestly, Connor's right. Don't give me too much credit. So it's fuck, just time lapse this.
Yeah.
These days, I used to video everything, and just in case something funny happened or something cool happened, I'd clip that bit out. But now I'm like, oh, fuck it, I'll just because I stopped using them.
Right. Because it's too much work. Yeah.
So then I just sped up the footage.
Yeah.
So now I just time lapse it, so I don't even have the opportunity to go back because it's all time lapse. And
does it and it's working quite well for you? I said,
it builds.
Yeah,
it builds. And so what I did need, if I say, is it working quite well? Is it getting huge viewership? No. But like I said, the people who are following, they're quite engaged. Even when I put up the question about, people ask me questions, come ask me questions. There was 13, 12 questions or whatever. which was really good. And then when I did a few question and answer ones, like I had like 20 something comments on them and things like that, which for me, that's really good. Like and they're all real solid stuff.
And like actual engagement is like that type of engagement is,
and it's the same people coming back all the time.
Yeah, cool.
And so we're doing it for a very different reason. Like, could I make it better? Yeah, like fuck, we could go and make more viral clips. Like Connor's working on like how do we get the podcast clips to go more viral as well? What can we do to make them a little bit long? We're testing a little bit longer clips as well in that space and things like that. There is some stuff we want to do to edit them in different ways, just resourcing. We don't have the resourcing to do it the right way we need it. So and internal content always gets less. It has less priority than the client
Makes
stuff,
sense.
right?
Yeah.
But my point is that like those vlogs is like just it did two things. That like I knew by the time I told everyone I was going to do it, I had to do it. I now have to stick to it at least at the end of this year.
Yeah, and you've got like that day 200 of 356, right?
Yeah. So I have to get to the end of the year. And then, so that's one. But then, two, like, just make them real easy. So, like, for instance, the time-lapse ones. The reason I do so many of them, because it's so easy. I know I'm going to be sitting here for the next hour. So I just time-lapse it. Gives me a minute of footage or whatever it is. And then the voiceover thing, like, at best, it takes me like 2 or 3 takes. And it's only the start.
Right.
Because I'll start it off and then I'll, like...
You're warming up. Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah,
warming up.
Yeah.
But most of the times, it's just like one take. You can tell, you can listen to me, like the amount of ums and ahs and like making shit up on the spot. I don't even check the captions. Like the captions.
Just go for it. Yeah.
And what I realized is that like the amount of people who will like DM me or message me or like even like yourself, like message me and just heaps of people are watching them continuously. Like they come in, they might not watch everyone, but they'll watch it and they'll see, and one thing will hit for different people.
Yeah.
That's why, like, I know they're worthwhile. Like the audience we're building is real strong. Whereas we don't get that on Taz.
Yeah, right. Okay.
We don't get people asking questions like that. We get people going, "Can you give me a job? I want a job. I want to work there. I want to work there." Right?
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's just what it is. That's why we did it for recruitment as well.
It's not that deep thing though, because I know like that one you did on LinkedIn, that was real. That's got me now. I'm posting on LinkedIn more regularly. Yeah. Just because I was like, this is like a golden opportunity I'm not using. Like it's The
amount of people who started doing that and added me and were like, bro, we're doing this on LinkedIn now. I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like even that Sam guy, he's done heaps more. He's gone hard on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I've
which
noticed
is
he's
awesome.
posting more now. Yeah.
And so I do like the way it's building. The goal is to get the content system to a place where every video is getting in the tens of thousands and eventually build that up. But like, it's hard. Like the team's stretched. I want them to do stuff. They're going to push back because they've got other stuff to do. And that's fine. Like at the end of the day, if we don't get the client's work done, we don't get paid. Yeah. And then we get no content. So like you got to.
It's a constant balance. Yeah.
So I need to find ways of doing more like one variable stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and so the questions was become one of that. Connor and I were going to do talking heads, but then like we want to do this real cool editing style. And Connor's like, all right, fuck, give it a crack. And he started editing. And he spent an hour and a half. He's like, bro, I've done 7 seconds of editing.
Oh, no way.
My
gosh.
He's like, do you want me to finish this 3-minute clip? I'm like,
fuck.
It's going to be like $4,000 for him to make it.
Oh, man.
I was like, nah.
So I do like that Parkinson's law thing, because often it is like I'll get up at 5 and like my daughter wakes up about 6:30. I'm like, I've got till 6:30 to do the video. And that's it. Like I've got, and I get it as good as I can. Maybe if I like miss the very end or do like, 15 minutes later that night. But I like, because I have like every 48 hours. It's got to come up, but it's good and bad.
Oh, I agree with you. Parkinson's law, like the work usually does fill the time.
Yeah.
And like for most times at work, like, hey, we just need to get this done and the team will just get it done. But like, I mean, the editing levels is insane.
Yeah,
what was the editing? What was the?
I was trying to do it like I'll show you this guy.
Yeah.
Christopher Claflin. He's I don't know how he's either got just like an amazing editor. Claflin is the last name. Just go Chris Claflin. CHRASCLAFIN. I think that one, top one. I think. Christopher.
Oh, this dude. He's so good.
He's very good. And he's blown up recently because of this one and this one.
This is the one. This is the one that I was basing it off.
Yeah. Like, this is YouTube level.
Yeah, this is so high quality.
He's definitely employed a proper editor to do this, like someone who's used to doing it for YouTube.
It reminds me of that Ali Abdul on YouTube. Like it's a very similar cut, and even the way sometimes you have stuff come behind him with the cutout kind of feature. It's
it's epic stuff.
And actually, he's one of the few creators that I've like clicked on, and then each time I finish a video, I go to the next one, which I like never do on TikTok.
Yeah.
But his are like so, and his growth strategies and stuff are just so engaging.
He's very good.
Yeah.
He's very good at what he does. He's very good on camera.
Yeah, the time commitment to do this kind of edit as well. Yeah, obviously, yeah.
I'm also not the guy to do all the animation, so it's a bit harder.
He's not a football probably animator. Like we've got an animator in the team now who could probably do it, but you still take ages.
Yeah,
he's still going to take ages to do it.
What do you like Premiere Pro? What do you use to?
Yeah, I use Premiere Pro for these ones.
Yeah.
But that's After Effects as well. That one.
Tight.
Yeah, and whereas our new guy Lee, he only knows After Effects. Like he doesn't know Premiere Pro. So Connor's been teaching him this week how to use Premiere Pro.
I've tried with Premiere Pro, but I've got so like used to. I use like Filmora to do my like rough cut because it cuts all my silences, which is great. And then I just CapCut. And and I'm like, I've gotten so quick with CapCut.
Yeah.
Whenever I try and learn something else, I'm like, it doesn't.
But there's nothing wrong. Yeah. All my vlogs are done on CapCut.
You don't need Premiere.
Nah.
Yeah.
Premiere's only good for us because of workflow.
Right.
It's like team projects and stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. Whereas CapCut, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And like, there'll come a time where like Premiere's going to have to offer some good shit to keep us hooked. Like, there's two good things with Premiere is that team projects and the ecosystem that it works in.
Yeah.
But also the same price to get Premiere gives you the whole suite.
Yeah.
So you get Photoshop, Illustrator, all that stuff anyway. And so from a creative perspective, it works out.
Yeah.
It is a business expense anyway. But that animation crap is crazy. It's next level
man.
stuff.
Because I've been experimenting with cutout and having things behind my head and stuff. And the videos actually do all right, but it takes a lot more time because you have to put everything in front of you and then have a base footage you cut out and put it. It's just more time,
Just find the one variable.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah. That's it. The one variable thing is the trick. Like, and like Joni's a master at it actually. Like that's how her brain works as well when she comes up with stuff, which was quite cool. Like we'd always talked about it, but I think the way she articulated it to me made me go, oh, fuck, that's what you've been telling us all the time or what we've all been doing.
Yeah, you finally... Because a lot of this is patterns, right? Like, that's what I keep trying to... Is like, why did that work?
Yeah.
Okay, how can I do it, but faster?
And do it more often, right?
Yeah.
Even like the vlog, daily vlog stuff, even like Connor's one on his De Plaza, like, that's the variable. It's like the next day. It's a little bit more work to do a daily vlog, obviously. So So she talked about having two criteria meet. It's one variable and it's easier to reproduce. That's the things you try. Because you can have one variable, which is like a daily vlog like Connor might do. He talks about a different thing that he's doing and makes his vlogs for his De Plaza and they go really well, but they're not easy to make. Like, he'll be filming stuff in the morning and then he does voiceovers at night and then he's got to edit it all and all the shit that he has to do to make it right.
Yeah.
So it's about like, what is the one variable and then how does it, which is for me, it was like, the question one was perfect.
Because
I'm so good at answering questions when people ask them.
That it's actually fun to do, right?
It's easy. Easy as.
Yeah.
The 12 videos I did probably in total 16 takes. So it was probably like
so
4 of them that I had to redo.
Cool.
It was easy. Like for me, that's easy stuff.
Yeah.
So you just got to find the same thing. Yeah. It is a real good point though.
Yeah, because I just keep trying to find that. Yeah, just something, because I considered when I seen your daily vlogs, I'm like, how would I do it?
Yeah.
And because the drugs I took to get fertile, I'm about to start them again. I was like, oh, that would be interesting. But then also do I want to record myself injecting in my stomach and all that? And I don't know that I want to use that with my Instagram audience, but maybe the TikTok audience, because I kind of do more risks with the TikTok. But I don't know. I was weighing it up and trying to figure it out.
Stabbing yourself in the gut with a
needle.
You just have to watch because you're like, wait, what's happening here?
Yeah. I don't know if I get in trouble as well. I know Instagram has interesting things about anything medical.
I think in TikTok you'll probably get it, but it will come up with a not for all audiences or whatever.
Yeah,
it's like what's that video that she made me watch? The bumhole one. That Nair video, whatever. That was on everywhere because it was it was considered medical.
Right.
Where he was burning the hair off his ass.
Oh wow. Okay.
It was just disturbing, but it was funny.
Yeah.
But so I think you can get away with it, especially on YouTube as well. YouTube doesn't give a fuck.
Oh, really?
You just get demonetized.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Gotcha.
They won't take it down. You just get demonetized. There are some things they'll take down, but like porn, they won't often keep up. And anything like crazy crazy stuff. But most things I'll just leave.
Because I've got the 1K subs for monetization now, but I don't have the watch hours yet. I have it in shorts and heaps, but it doesn't matter.
You need 4 million or something in shorts.
It's ridiculous, man. It's
well, that's the point. It's 10 million. And that's it, because you could just get one viral video.
It's true, yeah.
And it'll do it.
But...
It's a hard one, eh? Because what is it? It's 4,000 watch hours or something.
Yeah, I've got like 1,000, I think. So I'm still a while away. The subs was my main one of like, get to the subs. And now, but now I've got to make more long form content. And like, I know YouTube doesn't pay that much money either. And I'm like trying to find a way in that space too of like, because I like the job I actually do.
Yeah.
But I'd love to do this like 1 or 2 days a week paid, rather than just out of free time.
Oh, bro, if you like, you should talk to Josh Ryan. Like, Josh Ryan can make 2 or 3K a month on his, and he's got a pretty small channel, and he doesn't go hard on it because it's not his main business.
Yeah.
You can get paid fairly decent if you go hard on it. Like, there's no reason it can't replace your salary once you do it. The thing is, it just takes time.
Yeah.
Everyone wants YouTube success fast, but like we've talked about, the day we start going properly on YouTube, let's count 4 years.
4 years, right? Yeah.
Like this podcast, I don't expect this podcast to go well for another 3.5 years.
Right, far out. So I'll come back then, and then
do another episode, bro.
Yeah, I'll ride on your wave.
When you've got a few million, I'll bring you back on. But it's the truth of it. Like, YouTube's hard. Podcast is hard. Luke Kimmy's up to 600 episodes.
Yeah,
and people are like, 70,000, that's amazing monthly listeners. He's like, you go do 600 episodes.
Yeah.
Most people don't get past 20.
And when you do that many reps, right, you can't help but get better. As long as you are trying to improve, of course you do. Like,
of course you're going to get better.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, bro, it's well and truly over an hour now.
Man.
But that was awesome to hear your story fully.
Thanks,
and
man.
I appreciate you coming on.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, man. All right, cheers.
Go.